because you've got all these payment companies that want TAM, they want to get the market, but they need these integrations. So when they're being approached, it's a case of, oh look, just integrate this payment. But every single payment integration is new, it's different, and it takes a load of work, because obviously it's a regulated thing. You need to make sure it's right, you need to get people's cash. And what I found really interesting when I came over to Ollie was, and it's something I wanted for years, was he basically managed to standardise payment integration. So we utilise basically a standard format of API integration that means it's dead easy for integrations to happen. So like we've just recently started working with Fetch, and we told the guys we'd standardised it. They sent over their APK. We had it integrated in an hour.
No.
And they were like, "You guys are wild. That's insane. That's not a thing."
Yeah.
And before then, the guys at Fetch were quoting like 6 weeks work.
Yeah.
And we just gave all that time back to the devs. So they loved it. They were like, "This is amazing. What else can we do?"
Yeah.
Welcome to Captive Conversations, brought to you by Captive Wi-Fi. I'm your host, Adam Forman. This podcast brings you the best stories from suppliers, marketers, and operators from our beloved hospitality sector. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone. Episode 81, nearly 100. We're getting there. It's very exciting. I have roped in Chris. And it's what we're level with. Thank you very much for coming. So it's going to be an interesting one. Let's do a little intro. So I'll let you give everyone a bit of a wave, and I'll let you introduce both of yourselves. After you, sir.
So my name's Chris Jolliffe. I'm the sales director at Yeti Pay. I have actually just passed probation.
Congratulations.
With a few beers last night from Ollie, said it was good, so it's okay. But yeah, so I've been at Yeti Pay now for just coming up to 7 months, and enjoying my time here so far. Prior to that, I was at Dojo for some time, and then I've been in the EPOS space for basically the best part of a decade. Thanks for having us, mate. Appreciate it.
No, pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm Oliver, the founder of Yeti Pay. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. So, classic, selling sweets in the playground.
Love that.
Boot bags full of copied DVDs. The vibe.
When eBay wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I ran a few things over the years, founded Yeti Pay. It was called Table Yeti back then, 7 years ago.
I didn't know it was called Table Yeti.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense. Okay, because I remember Table Yeti.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when did it change to Yeti Pay? Or is Table Yeti still around?
No, we changed the brand name in the middle of 23. A Table Yeti was a leave at table payment device.
Yes.
So you asked for your bill in the restaurant rather than them bringing a piece of paper and then the waiter standing there with the card machine.
Yeah.
We basically digitized the bill, put it on a payment device, and then you could leave that with the guests and collect like Net Promoter Score and Google reviews, and tips would go through the roof. And that was called Table Yeti. So
yes.
It kind of made
was
sense.
that at BrewDog?
Yeah, still is.
Okay, because that's where I first saw it like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, insane. Okay, awesome. And then rebrand, and then focus more on payments.
Yeah,
amazing.
It made sense.
Yes, it definitely makes sense, especially with the flexibility of what you can do now, right?
Yes.
I think a lot has changed as well. So, okay. So let's start with one of the questions I have here, which is the payment space is notoriously competitive. So there's massive players. How do you differentiate Yeti Pay in that environment? It's like super crowded right now, especially with POS as well. They're all wanting to provide their own, but their own payments is a challenge. Either they get bought by a payments company, and then there's payments been thrown onto them, or they do their own payments, and it's just not as flexible. I don't know what it is.
I think from my experience, obviously, I was back in POS 3-4 years ago now. We as a POS provider, payments was always quite appealing because obviously there's more revenue in payments than there necessarily is in SaaS for POS. So it's quite lucrative in that sense. And obviously there is more revenue because it's riskier. There's a lot of legislation around it and it costs a lot to service it. So that's why you're seeing a lot of private equity firms buy up POS companies and implement payments in there. But like you say, it's kind of like subpar. It's not a great experience. It's not very feature rich. And then you've got a lot of the fintechs that are out there now, like the Dojos, the Tayas and everything else, where they've got this huge war chest and they're all trying to capture market share as quickly as possible. And they're paying a handsome price for it.
They really are.
Yeah. Generally,
it's wild.
It's insane. And, payments ultimately is a commodity, right? So you've got to try and differentiate yourself and fix the problem, not only for the people that are trying to come into payments, but also the customers primarily. Because, with the digital era, payments is becoming more of a feature-rich product than just tap and go. People want more from it.
Yeah.
That's my kind of take on it.
Yeah, I'd strongly agree. Like when we started the company, I always remember saying to the very few people that were knocking about at the time, basically me and two others, that like we were one of the only companies that were not commoditized payments. We had this like leave it table thing, had a bunch of value built into it, and we would always sell on value.
It's interesting because looking back, because you've come from a slightly different entrance to it, it seems like you've come more from the customer service side.
Yeah.
Hence the feature-rich piece. Payments is payments. People will come in to do payments, and they'll start with payments, and that's what they'll do, and then they'll try and build on top of it. But it seems like you've come from a product where you want to speak to the customer.
Yep.
You want the customer to utilize more tools in that little war chest. Yep. And then build out payments from there, which is it's like how Tesla built the car around the battery, and how the newer cars will just build around whatever they've got.
Yep.
It's like hobbling stuff together. So it's interesting how that's kind of what was the journey from the pay at table to into payments.
Yeah, so I knew nothing about payments 7 years ago. I remember we used the NMI gateway on an iPhone app that we'd built that was linked to a Mayora card reader. Remember the first?
Oh, I remember the Mayora card readers. Oh.
Not very good.
No, it's like the worst version of iZettle ever.
Yeah, absolutely awful. Yeah. Sorry, Mayora. I was like, oh, we're in this restaurant. We need to get this thing working. I'm like, what's this mid thing? And the guy's like, oh, you need to call this person. And I get the mid, and then say, oh, we need a TID thing, so we have to put this TID in. So I literally knew nothing. Not a thing about payments. But I wanted to make this cool product. And so, over the years then learned what it I just learned about the industry and where you'd make money fundamentally. I think we've been built in an odd shape, I guess. So we started with this product focus on the customers, focus on solving problems, but it was always underlying it was payments, right? And so we then kind of got to a point where, and obviously we had COVID in between, which was not great.
Did that give you an opportunity to look into during that period? Because obviously everyone pivoted during that period.
Yeah.
So that period, did that give you an acceleration of this is definitely something to look at?
Yeah. So what happened was we noticed something quite interesting during 2019, and that's when if you left a payment device with someone to pay their bill, they'd tip way more.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it go up their tips go 3x. Right?
Yeah.
And then we'd speak to the waiters.
Less worry, less nervousness.
Yeah.
You're
all of
also
that
not
stuff.
tipping as a collective when you facilitate a payment. You tip it as individuals.
Yeah.
So you get multiple ones.
Effect.
Yeah. There's loads of really cool things that drive that. But then we'd speak to the waiters and be like, "Hey, you must be so happy. Your tips have gone up 3x." And they'd be like, "Have they?" Right?
We didn't know this.
Yeah.
Legislation is different.
It's yeah. And if you ask them how many cash tips they've made that day, they'd be able to tell you. Of course. Penny, right? I've got £17 and 14p in my pocket.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's this disconnect, and there's the whole stuff they weren't giving them all the tips as well. But there's also this when someone leaves a credit card tip, the worker doesn't get that dopamine hit, so then they don't remember it, etc. And so we thought that was a really interesting problem to solve. COVID happened, and so then what we did was and this is when we first started to deep dive into, as you asked, start deep dive into payments. We wanted to figure out how we could split the tip at the point of payment.
Yeah.
We've worked with TipJar for years, and then put the tip in TipJar.
Yeah, because that's another thing I remember watching as probably one of the first things I've seen of TipJar being into. I think you must have been early doors in that.
We were the first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
I haven't seen it anywhere. It's really nice in the really nice interface.
Yeah. So we were the first people to do this because we figured out how to do it. Nobody else knew how to do this.
Yeah.
You could do it on Stripe back then, but they had awful devices and it was expensive. So you're not going to be able to sell that to a BrewDog. So my bill's going to go up by 200 grand a year. The tips are important, but so we spent COVID figuring that out. We ended up working with a payment facilitator based out of Latvia to do it. And that I said that was when I started to really begin to understand this industry and what you could build and what could be achieved. And so we worked with them. We won the BrewDog contract in middle of 22.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, middle of 22.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that was probably
we were like a team of like
Yeah.
7-8 people, one BrewDog, and this was all value, right?
Yeah.
This was like the tips had gone through the roof.
So was it like was there a testing period where like let's put you in a couple and see how you get on?
Yeah,
and it went mental.
Yeah, so obviously we had this leave at table
Yeah.
device. Also, what happened through COVID was all these Android-based payment terminals came out, right? So we were like, okay, cool, we can build there's a regular payments app to facilitate this tip splitting stuff.
Yeah.
Put it on a pack, say 920 or whatever. And
Before
so,
PAX.
oh god,
I honestly, I have to say, before PAX, the world was a very different place. I probably remember speaking to you years ago as well. Like it has been such a change. And I remember speaking to like global payments back then of like these horrible Ingenico devices, and then we've got a new one coming out, and it does this, and literally it just looks a bit precipitous, exactly the same. I think PAX has made a massive difference in the world.
Yeah, they were really
it's
fast.
made that digital transformation for payments.
Yeah.
It's like broken the gateway, the fence down.
Yeah.
So now you can like embed apps in there. You can embed more functionality. It's
Yeah,
we're going to see a massive change.
If you think how we solved the problem before, we made an iPhone app and then put an SDK in it and connected it to a Fiora device.
Yeah.
That's how we solved the problem originally. And so, so we built a payments app that would run on the PAX devices and had this payment facilitator in the background, and they'd be able to do the split settlements.
What would happen? So now you had the PAX. Did that go? The waiter would just go put it on the table, and then they would figure it out with guided.
So we still had leave at table,
Yeah.
but then we also had like we would do bar payments, right?
Yeah.
And so we then launched that in BrewDog in Dublin.
Yeah.
They actually flew over with a suitcase full of payment devices. Literally.
I've got a present for you.
yeah. These are new payments.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you could see within a week that their tips had gone up by like 300%. It was wild.
Yeah.
And this
Sorry, hold on a second. It skipped through me. Did you just say 300%?
300%, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
It's
Completely.
wild because we went to a BrewDog the other week with Chris from NFS, and we met the staff afterwards, and they were basically trying to kick us out because we were there till closing. And we said, they went, where are you from? And I said, from Yeti Pay. They were like, oh, you can stay. We love you guys. It's a real thing. Like the staff love it.
Yeah.
And if they love it, then the service is obviously going to be improved.
Yeah.
It closes that loop. It's really very cool. And then like some other BrewDog sites obviously hear about this, and they're like, we want that.
Yeah.
And then we get 3. We got Canary Wharf, 7 Dials, and Paddington. Similar vibes happen there. Probably some, like all 300% of the tips went up and the staff were happier.
Yeah.
And then we got the estate. So that was we found product market fit. Like let's go. And we raised some cash. And we then really spent the next year like banging our head against the wall. Yeah. Because like in hindsight, this is very obvious, but any mid-market enterprise level merchant that cares about like innovative tipping definitely has integrated payment terminals.
Yes.
And so we like
that word just in like it's like scares some old pods, right? And
and so we banged our head against the wall trying to get integrations for a year. So you basically kind of like running 2 sales cycles, small back then, like POS companies didn't really want to work with us, didn't know who we were.
Well, the benefit you have is if you've got one brand that don't have integration, it's fairly big. That's a benefit you have. That's always a challenge, right? If you would have just got a small pub company and they got 5 sites, and then you wanted integration, did it help having the BrewDog behind to give it?
BrewDog was non-integrated.
Yeah.
So like
only until recently.
Only until very recently. Yeah.
They're still Aloha. They're still
Aloha. Yeah.
Wow.
So we've just formed a partnership with NFS Aloha recently. We've just finished the rollout of the integrated.
It's not fully rolled out yet, but
it's getting there.
Yeah. It's a challenge, right? That POS is still. It's interesting because like the Nando's and the Five Guys have it, and BrewDog have it, and Enterprise, Enterprise is out there.
Yeah.
I think we've got one client in Soho, but it's still on
Aloha.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's hard for the POS companies, right? Because you've got all these payment companies that want TAM, they want to get the market, but they need these integrations. So when they're being approached, it's a case of, oh, look, just integrate these payments. But every single payment integration is new.
Yeah.
It's different. And it takes a load of work because obviously it's a regulated thing. You need to make sure it's right. You need to know people's cash. And what I found really interesting when I came over to Ollie was, and it's something I wanted for years, was he basically managed to standardize payment integration. So we utilize basically a standard format of API integration that means it's dead easy for integrations to happen. So like we've just recently started working with Fetch, and we told the guys we'd standardized it. They sent over their APK. We had it integrated in an hour.
No.
And they were like, "You guys are wild. That's insane. That's like
insane.
not a thing."
Yeah.
And before then, the guys at Fetch were quoting like 6 weeks work.
Yeah.
And we just gave all that time back to the devs. So they loved it. They were like, "This is amazing. What else can we do?"
Yeah.
So
I think that's a challenge with the older businesses. There's so much paperwork, and listen, PCI compliance is obviously a massive thing, right? As well. I think the challenge now is that you've built that flexibility into it. That's mental.
Yeah, because the way we see it is we're servicing both merchants, but we're also servicing our partners, right?
Yeah.
So
it's got to be easy for them as well.
Correct. We want them to have the best product to service their customers with, and we have to do that. We have to do that by looking through a different lens in both channels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, we're probably one of the only fintechs that's never raised any venture capital. So we're like angel. We've got some, you know, really great angel investors that have backed us over the years. And so like we have to come up with like cool, scrappy ways of like figuring these.
But that's how
out.
hospitality works, right?
Yeah.
That's how. Yeah. Right?
I was born and raised in it. My grandparents had pubs and restaurants.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
I mean, literally, you're born and bred. I mean, it is. If you don't make something different, why would they use you? You're just the same as everyone else. So I think the benefit you have. And what you've just said, you've become agile.
Yeah.
Which there's no payments company that are agile. It doesn't exist. I think I'm getting excited now.
That's thanks to the way that Ollie's built the platform with the great team that we have and the partnership with Adyen, which obviously we'll go on to.
Yeah.
But that's helped accelerate like that initial product market fit of facilitating payments.
Yeah.
And then we've like built a load of cool stuff on top of their stuff that makes it even better.
Yeah.
So it's like incremental value. So like one that I personally love is we've obviously leveraged offline payments with Adyen. So we can do offline payments, which is cool. Not a lot of the payment companies have it.
No. And it's a nightmare to do.
Correct.
It's killer.
Then what the team are now building is offline integrated payment on the local LAN.
Yeah.
Which will just be a complete game changer. So if the POS can work offline, we can then work offline, and then we can connect to pay account integration locally. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Helen. That brings a lot more value to the POS, right?
Correct. So they can then utilize and sell through or have incremental value on their own products. Like it's good.
Because I mean, right now there's a couple of POS that are pretty good with offline integrations, with offline payments.
Yes.
Some of them are pretty clunky. Well, one of them is horrific. I mean, we speak to people all the time, you know, having to manually go change it on the card machine to then be able to take payment, even though the payment machine works, is a nightmare. And then they're not integrated. So is that part of how you've built the platform to be slightly more flexible into?
Yeah, it is. It's architected well, which means that the engineering team can be working on things that actually add value to merchants or partners. And what the big reason we can do that is because we're built on top of Adyen.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't have to have a team of 100 people running a regulated bank. Like we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So we get to like work on the cool, new, innovative things.
Yeah. And their system's pretty open, right? Their system's like you can do quite a bit with it. I think what I've seen, there are other payment providers that are using Adyen as well, right?
Yeah.
But I think how we've seen it is that they're just using 3% of what it can do.
Yeah.
It's time though, right? Like, and you mentioned earlier about the POS companies sort of taking on like Stripe or Adyen or whoever. There's a few out there that you can utilize. But the fact of the matter is you're changing the DNA of your business at that point. Like it's a decision that you're making and you're investing a lot of time, a lot of cash, and you're taking on a lot of risk as well. Like, because you have to underwrite, you have to do KYC, KYB, you have to be regulated to be able to facilitate all that stuff that we do. And it's scary. Yeah. It's a big shift from selling POS or selling an app. Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. And you've got to build the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is what, and you mentioned it earlier, lots of the POS companies, they do an Adyen for platforms, they do a Stripe Connect, but they don't really build the things that matter to merchants.
No, all they've done is just, this does payment X.
Yeah.
There's no thought process of actually, there's some really fancy schmancy stuff.
There's also some fundamental stuff as well. Like, you've really got to get your billing engine right. Yeah. Because like, you need to be able to bill debit, credit, commercial across the EU, internationally. You need to be able to split out. Like, and doing that is hard and complicated. You've got to be able to get your settlement engine right. You've got to be able to settle net. You've got to be able to settle gross. Like, there's then invoicing, contracting. like when you actually start peeling this onion, like the amount of complexity that you end up having, we ended up building. You have to build to be able to be competitive in the market is wild.
Yeah.
That's
insane. Okay, so interestingly enough, we talked about it a little bit earlier, to be honest with you, but you've probably seen it, and so have you, but payments have changed. We talked a little bit about good old global payments, which I don't really hear of anymore, to be honest with you. Maybe the big, like, I don't know, Tesco's have it, I don't know who has it. But how have you seen that change over time? Obviously now we have Adyen, which has the flexibility of doing stuff. Stripe has always been there, but it's overly expensive and what it is. What's some of the main points that you've seen over time from like back in the early days?
More players.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, the gates have truly opened.
Yeah.
You mainly had like your banks. So you'd open up a merchant account. Your bank would give you a card terminal, and then you'd transact on that. Then you had the fintechs come over or establish themselves in the UK. And then the PAX revolution happened, which transformed the way in which payments are viewed. And then I think now we're at a point where there's so many big players, much bigger than us, that are all fighting to capture the market. To do what? Probably turn the dial up and charge more, I imagine, when they get it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in the UK, it's not as simple as just get the market and you've got it. Operators and partners want more all the time. And it's so, I believe personally that we're now going into like a differentiation phase of doing payments and having the most out there isn't going to win the race necessarily. You need to offer something that nobody else has got and continually innovate and demonstrate that you are continually doing that cycle. And I think that's personally what attracted me to Yeti Pay, because of the fact that we don't have to spend so much time keeping the lights on. We've got arguably one of the best global acquirers in Adyen doing that for us. And we get to do the cool stuff that matters to the merchant and the partner. And that's where I kind of see payments has gone and what's happening with it.
So lots of people are talking about that unique identifier.
The token.
Tokenization and stuff, right? So it's always difficult that token is something and it is there. And you can see that token going to different places. Is that something you're working on or working in? Because that's a really big thing right now. And the challenge of, like, if you're in America and you go to a coffee shop in Texas and you go pay on Square and then you go to New York, there's no PCI compliance over there. It doesn't even exist. It's hilarious. Like, they just know who you are and you're pushing Apple Wallet and off you go. It's like a Wild West. It's unbelievable. Here is very different, So are you doing stuff with that as well? We haven't really mentioned that, but it's interesting to hear what your thoughts are on that.
So Adyen for platforms does tokenization out of the box.
Yeah.
And you can track that card across your estate. All transactions are currently tokenized, but we have not built anything yet that outside of like a few little scrappy data things that we visualize.
It's exciting, the possibilities of what you're able to do with it, right?
Yeah, it's mad.
Because you have the opportunity of that flow of data that's there, right?
You combine that with loyalty, and you finally capture this like single customer view that hospitality has wanted forever.
Yeah,
and like they need to figure out how to still leverage that data and do the right things with it. But that circle is finally round.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future because there's a need for that.
Yeah, and I think it's funny with our approach, because me and Ollie are quite aligned in where we decide to build ourselves and where we decide to enable. And I think with the tokenization, people are going to see a lot of pound signs on that. And for me personally, I don't think it's a play that we're necessarily going to go down where we build and monetize it. I think there's a much more valuable play to the merchants and partners if we enable.
Yeah.
So we're already having conversations with loyalty partners at the moment.
Yeah, there's no point. Other people are looking at building, right?
Correct. Yeah. About sharing that information, but also doing some cool stuff around embedded loyalty with Apple Wallet as well, which is going to be pretty much bleeding edge in terms of payments. And that will not only, allow loyalty to profile customers in the right way, but it will also reduce that barrier to entry to capture that loyalty card in the first place.
Yeah.
Because you still have to scan a QR code or log on.
It's painful. It's still so painful.
Yeah,
it's so painful. Square turned theirs on, which I don't. I don't like being pushed a wallet. No offense to the thing, but they're now pushing wallets, right? And you can sort of do that, and it pained me in the beginning. I was in Herne Hill at a coffee shop, and I got pushed a wallet, and I'll never go back there again because I've not been to I've got Herne Hill once every 6-7 months, right? So it was just weird for me I didn't even know they turned it on, and it just boom up on there. So, but if the terminal did something or had the opportunity to do something, there's definitely a way around it. But that's exciting, and there's so many opportunities to do that. And you're right. Why build it? The other platforms we've spoken to are like, oh, we're gonna go dev team, and they're like, but there's like 7 or 8 awesome loyalty systems out there.
Already there.
We just want to enable them,
right?
Like, come and work with us.
Yeah.
Like, we're built on Adyen. We've got this great product, like decent APIs. Like, just leverage it. Get more customers.
Give a better service.
Yeah.
It's flywheel then. Everyone stays sticky.
Yeah, and as you said, you're building that. I'm assuming you're building that API to allow people just to plug in, right?
That's literally what we're doing now with the consultation with the loyalty partners.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing of we don't want to build in vain and tell them what to do. We want to say, hey, how does this communication work for you? What works best for how you flow currently with your merchant?
Which doesn't really normally exist, to be fair. So you're going the other way around.
Yes.
So how do you want it to be built?
Yes.
Rather than saying, well, this is the API, you jog off and try and fix
and
into
salt
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People tend to always get that wrong, right? Like, your partners are also your customers. Like, so speak to them.
Yeah. If you're enabling the loyalty, if you're enabling your loyalty partners and the integration's good and it works, because it doesn't often work, then the first thing they're going to do when they speak to their customers is, okay, so we've just switched this on, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really happen. It's rare that happens. Yeah. It's usually the payments is sort of there. And this is what's interesting, actually, because payments is there, POS is here, and then loyalty is over there with marketing and CRM.
Yep.
And I think you're bridging a little gap. Actually, to be fair, you're bridging ops and marketing together, which is an interesting thing because they're often siloed.
Yeah.
So that will be really interesting when I'm super interested. And there's so much you can do with Adyen. We'll talk later about it. Okay, so let's talk about embedded.
Did you like the video?
I didn't see the video. I didn't see the video. I saw the PDF. The PDF was pretty awesome, but I didn't see the video. I didn't see the video.
We'll show you the video.
You show me afterwards.
It's fun.
To be fair, if it's one of your videos, it's going to be pretty cool. The intro to your video was awesome.
Yeah.
The newsroom. Yeah. I mean, it was really cool.
I thought I liked the spotlight until that happened, and I was a bit like, oh my god.
So now I've got another podcast with Adam. Shit. Yeah. So that was. I like that, and also it's human.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it was awesome. I mean, the flow, the conversations on that feed was just crazy.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
The thing is, right? Like, Ollie kind of paints a better picture, so you might want to pick me up on it. But like, payments is boring.
Yeah.
It's mundane, and we are on a journey of how we articulate ourselves better. But we want to be fun.
Yeah.
Like we should be fun. We're doing cool stuff. Like, we want to celebrate it. And these videos that you're seeing now is like a new, fresh image that we're portraying, and it's still always going to be fun, but we do a serious job. We're in the money flow, right?
Yeah.
And we take that huge, like, immensely seriously, but we want to do cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because hospitality is fun.
Yeah.
So
they're up people, right? Like,
And payments has never been fun. It's always just been, it's always been that thing over there on the desk, on the bar, and it's just the one that's been the bane of your life because it breaks the whole time.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we speak to our clients about the whole time. Oh, it's broken. Okay, you need to order a new one. Okay, we've spoken to them, a new one's coming. And it does the same thing. There's nothing fancy about it. But the generation of tap to pay, tap on iPhone, tap on anything now is so different.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that some of the payment providers, some of them have obviously put on iPhones and so on, but I mean, you can get smaller and smaller and smaller. Like, literally, I can imagine some waiters walking with their watch and paying, taking, or even a little flexi card or something. It's just what can happen now. It's typical with payments. As I said, like the global payment era where things just don't move on. But I think it's interesting to see what the opportunity is now.
Yeah.
And it seems like you guys are very much like, right, as you said, it needs to be fun. We do the same thing, right? If someone says, oh, this is cool, can we do this? We're like, yeah, we can do that. If someone asks you a question, if you want to make a change, it's not, it goes in it goes in the roadmap. And our roadmap is 2029. You're at the end of 2029. That's where you are. And you're like, oh, thanks so much. That really helps. And even if like multiple people come, you see the roadmap and it's still edging there. I think the challenge nowadays is with that, you've got the CTO that's driving it, rather than the customer that's driving it. And it feels like what you guys are doing is when you're speaking to your customers, you're like, what do you want? What do you see? What do you need? And then if you've got some fun that comes in that could be cool to do, you have the ability to do it, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, embedded. Tell me.
It's cool, right?
I don't know. So basically, so listen, my info said it's like letting partners become their own payments company. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, I can take it. So we've, as I explained earlier, we've built all of this stuff on top of Adyen that if you actually want to be a POS company that has a competitive payments offering, you're going to have to build.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you don't build that, if you do not build a gross settlement engine, you are not moving your hospitality customers, enterprise hospo customers. You're just not.
Yeah.
Like they're not going there. So that bit's sliced off, right? If you don't build your billing engine right, that bit's sliced off. If you don't invoice them correctly, that bit's sliced off. And so we've spent all this time building what's needed in the market for the last 2.5 years. And what we've done and what we realized after speaking to many POS companies, because thanks to Mr. Jolliffe, people want to speak to us.
Everyone's fucking moaning at you, but going, I just need this. Please, can we just have this? Right?
And we're like, well, why don't we offer like a layer on top of Adyen for platforms, which is all this cool stuff that we've built, which basically enables a POS company to go live as a payments company in like 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's insane.
I want it to be as easy as buying a SaaS tool.
Okay.
That's like the vision.
So I can go on Lovable tomorrow. I can set up a POS company, build the terminal, and just plug into yours.
Plug into us. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then it becomes
That's the
your
vision.
payment company.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
your
your
contract.
control, your brand, your contract,
Your revenues.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
So proper white label.
Yeah.
Proper.
So they don't even know who you are, really.
We're in the contract for obviously regulatory reasons and everything else. But the contract is there. So from a merchant's point of view, they're getting that single point still, which they typically like.
Yeah. Well, it gives them a single customer view, right? Rather than having to work out everything else.
Yeah.
And obviously they're not going through the hardship of building it, of changing their business, going into a world where they don't necessarily know too well. Like when I've been working at the various POS companies like Tavalis, the guys there, we spoke about it a lot. At Cobas, it was spoken about. We end up obviously exiting to Vesta Group, who are obviously now putting in payments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we kind of said, well, what do the POS companies want? They want to generate income, and they've got a book of customers. And if we can service that book of customers with payments for them that's got product market fit above and beyond what they're currently servicing with the partners that they have with other acquirers, then it's a win-win for everybody. And then they're realizing the payment revenue, which means then...
Do you think that there's less visibility with where they have at the moment? Are they even keeping an eye on what's going on? Who even looks at how well they're doing versus what commission they're having?
I just think
is that grey?
It's opaque.
It depends who it's with, right? Like some are better than others.
Yeah.
But
So this is what you're saying is basically gives them out of the box full control over it.
Yeah.
And then, because they've not gone through the cost of building the thing, they can still maintain competitive within their estate.
Yeah.
So you're not in a situation where the customer's, paying an obscene amount of money for their processing, and then they're paying a SaaS as well. You can remain competitive because all that lift Ollie and the team have done for 7 years. And we've got a comparable product. It's like I had a meeting with an enterprise customer recently, and he's a great chap. You'll know who he is now when I mention this. But he messaged me before the meeting and said, "Look, Chris, I know you're a lot smaller than my incumbent. I don't want you to waste my time. If there's not additional features and value that I can see working for me, I don't want to have this meeting." And I went, "I won't waste your time. But have the meeting." At the end of the meeting, we mentioned about the marketing tool we have on all terminals, so we can advertise on all the screens, do like a carousel and video, which is pretty cool. We've also got some other stuff that we're doing as well. And he was like, "Yeah, this is wild." And I was like, "Told you."
Because it doesn't exist. Right? It's always been a logo. We'll upload the logo. Like I just remember back in the day, even WorldPay, right? He's going to each terminal and plugging it in and uploading. There's your image. Yay!
This stuff cracks me up because they'll do like this big announcement about the fact that they've like now got the ability to put a
But that terminal's an Android terminal, right? There's so much you can do with it. That's awesome. And also, those terminals sit there on the bar.
Yeah.
So if you're customer-facing terminal and it's not doing anything,
advertising.
Definitely, 100%.
I don't know if you've seen Adyen have launched a device that's kind of like a CDS.
Yeah.
It's called the FSO1. We call it the Horizon in our little product suite. And it's just like, it's a fully fledged payment device. Insert your card, tap on the screen. It's kind of like the square one.
Yeah. There wasn't one in America. They used to have one in the US that was about this, but was like this big with the screen on it and stuff, right?
Yeah, that kind of vibe. Like that's perfect for advertising.
Yeah.
And you're getting eyeballs on it every time someone goes to the bar, every time somebody pays. Like, cool.
Well, it becomes a customer-facing screen.
Yeah, it's CDS.
It's exactly that.
It's a CDS payment device.
So partners will integrate pay at counter. It can display the basket with the video as well. It can then switch between.
Yes.
But it's a full PCI compliant device. It's not soft pause.
Yeah.
So you haven't got the added security layer that costs.
Yeah.
It's just a
So
payment.
you've isolated that. It's API integrated, and then if you start talking about the offline payment mode with that, you're even winning. Yeah, I mean, and the cost for the POS provider to give you the additional POS that sits in front of it, because it's really like another screen.
We're actually lowering the cost to serve for the customer. Because you're not buying an ePOS terminal and a customer facing screen. You're buying one that does both.
Yeah.
And we've just recently partnered with Oxu. So they're going to start distributing it with us as well.
Nice.
Which is amazing. So it fixes a problem for them, because they need to have an embedded payment solution as well that's on offer, because it's all the age.
Yeah.
But soft POS isn't there yet. Well, it's there fundamentally, but the commercials aren't there yet in terms of like adoption. Yeah. Because you have to have that security layer on top of the soft POS.
Yeah. Well, then I'm gonna. Yeah, that's the challenge, right? No one's gonna build PCI compliance into the POS. It's just too painful to do it. No. I literally couldn't, and it wouldn't be good, because it would be someone who's not from the UK building that POS for them, because they work in other sectors. So I think that's really interesting. The customer display thing sounds really cool, actually, as well. So you're sort of blowing my mind with the possibilities. I think the nice thing is because you're agile, things can change easily and quickly, and that's really important. And it doesn't happen in payments. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. You've seen it.
People are shocked when we do these things.
Yeah,
like genuinely shocked, because they're used to dealing with an incumbent.
Yeah,
and it never happens.
I think one of the challenges we have is that the account manager leaves one credit card company and goes to another one, and then calls his black book of people up and says, "I've moved." And then all of a sudden we get a phone call saying, "Oh yeah, we've just moved payments." Yeah. And they're like, and I'm like, and then they're using some old school POS that was not integrated. Yeah. And then and then the new guy, he's like, "Oh yeah, they promised me they'd integrate." I was like, "You got that in writing?" No. He said over the phone, "Don't worry, it'll be fine. We'll integrate." Yeah. So then 3 months down the line, how are you getting on? Did you manage to get it integrated? Yeah. We've called them up. They're saying it's not going to happen. And then I speak to the ops manager and the GM, and she's crying, because at the end of the night, she's like, "I've got 2 kids. I just want to go home." 3 hours.
I used to press one button, right, and it would reconcile.
It just doesn't. That non-integrated, and there's still some people that have that, right? Yeah. Within there, so it goes mental. So one of the questions here, actually, to be fair, it does say like, what is the ideal partner for embedded, and who gets the most value from it?
We've been trying to work that out. So we cast a broad net initially when we were having conversations, when we didn't even have it built. We didn't have the system live. And we quickly realised that, I think initially it was targeted at ePOS, right?
POS,
It was POS.
That was the initial one.
But then when you start looking at it, you actually realise that if you look at the banks and stuff like that who are leveraging other acquirers, like it's actually a really good fit for them as well, because they're not acquirers yet. They're doing some kind of like rev share with different acquirers. They've got like terminals not branded them, but they're a bank, so you can expect them to have terminals branded their own. And it's a bit clunky the way it operates, and it's not their contract. Whereas we can obviously come in and facilitate that for them as well. Yeah. And then I know quite a few people in the franchise space as well. And something I've been wanting to do for years, and something we actually did quite well at Tavalis, in terms of like how you could, in market halls as an example, how you could put the royalties that you would get for each trade, and you can do a report on it.
Yeah.
So with franchises, with this model, because we can split settlement, we can now start offering.
Ooh, real time. Oh my God, that's so much. Can you imagine the pain of reporting and breaking it down? And
exactly that. So we can now approach them and say, hey, not only can you be your own payments company offering that to your franchisees and have that control, you can then split the royalties at point of payment. So it's instant.
Well, does that work for the pub groups as well? Where they're leased and tenanted, not tenanted?
No, because it's not like a fixed tariff, is it? Okay. It's like a bill. There'll be contracts in place for like ordering. It doesn't work with enterprise customers, because they want enterprise value pricing. Okay. Whereas for franchise operations, they just want the control. Yeah. But each franchisor is probably doing maybe 50k a month or 10 grand a month, and some are doing millions. So you'll have like an estate where they'll want enterprise pricing there because it's necessary based on the volume that they're doing, and you've got others that might need SME pricing pricing because of the volume and the card mix that they're doing.
It's interesting. So in Australia, there's a product in Australia. In Australia's very different to here. And I've got a colleague of mine who was like ex-Revel back in the day. He moved back to Australia, works for a payments company. And over there's like 2 or 3, all the banks are acquirers, but you have to go through an integrator to connect. If you're a POS, you need to have that middleware. You can't go direct to the bank. It doesn't exist. Here is very different. Here's like all free reign. There is the 4 major banks work with 3 middleware integrators. Unless you're massive, then you can plug in. And it sounds similar to ish what you're building, because you're building that middleware where the bank can come in and go, actually, let's use this. And so I was talking to the other day, they're going to look at over here, but there's not enough need for it. Like they're just because there's so much free reign of what's happening here. He's like, I think he was blown away. He was like, this is insane. Like, how does everyone have access to this? But it makes me think that your product can be quite similar, whereby once you've built this platform, you've allowed the banks who've never really had payments because no one wants them anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Or the neobanks. New banks. Well, yeah. Right. Hardly any, because they're just the big ones out there are just killing them. But they could probably offer really good rates. So it's interesting that they basically have become over there. You're a new POS company. Okay, great. I need to plug in. Who do I use? Can't speak to the bank because they don't care about us. You have to go to the integrator. And it sounds like potentially this could be a really nice middleware for banks that just don't have payments.
I mean, it is fundamentally middleware.
Yeah.
Is what we built. That's what embedded is.
Yeah.
And it is ready.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to onboard the first embedded partner, fingers crossed, in Q1 next year.
Oh,
So
really?
it's
It's like it's like
And then sales for you is easy because they want it. That embedded partner just wants to roll out that. So then you're just sitting there going,
But then not
yes,
only
please.
that, we then offer professional services on top of the embedded. So these companies might not know how to sell payments. They might not understand payments. They're used to selling POS for however long. So we can come in and they can leverage our inside sales function to sell to their merchant.
Yeah.
Or we can help them with marketing for payments or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We're finding our way with it.
Yeah, you're basically building the pack to go ahead and go.
Correct.
Right? Because of the challenge of
And
having
we're going to make it quick, we're going to make it slick, we're going to make it easy, and we're going to give you the right to win.
Yes. Wow. That's it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, because in the past you're stuck with, we're plugged into this brand and they give us X and little visibility. You might get a report at the end of the month, or you might not get into your portal, or you've referred a business to X and they're doing payments, but did that go through? Are they? Oh, no, we know they're using it. How are they doing? Like, where's the reporting? And I think what you're doing now is opening their eyes to what the opportunity is. Yeah, that's really. And there's loads of POS that aren't owned by payment companies.
Even in my eyes, like the goal was to sell to a payments company when you had a POS.
Yeah.
Actually, now we're saying no. The goal now is to sell to a private equity firm once you've realised the
There's
payment
revenue.
Yeah.
That's the goal now, because it's not difficult to do it.
No.
And it's a lot of money that's there.
Yeah, 100%. And also, you've opened the doors to all the new POSs that are being built.
Yep.
I'm literally, and there's loads around Europe that aren't here. That would love to be here. That aren't using any part of Adyen. One of the last questions here really is that where do you see it heading over the next couple of years? You've talked about maybe PE. You've talked about the POS. Where do you see that part of the product like landing? Do you see like someone like there's all these like payment resellers, right? Who are just, their job is to go to each business, right, and sell a payment provider. And there's hundreds of them. I think they are.
But there's hundreds in each of the big ones,
right?
Yeah. Like,
and they're just literally like the amount of clients we get. Oh yeah, Steve came in again, waving his flag about this company, and I just told him to go away. I originally wanted him to stay because he was spending quite a bit of money at the restaurant.
That's a good strategy.
Right? Yeah. So, and it's got high-end restaurants, so he must have spent quite a bit. So he's a regular customer. So I thought I'd sit down with him. He's telling me about this, and I'm like, and now I've said no, and he's still consistently emailing me and texting me. He's got my mobile number, right? So potentially, does that even give those resellers an opportunity to own that customer as well?
We've had this discussion internally.
Yeah.
In an ideal world,
the big ones maybe.
In an ideal world, right? Like if you wanted like mass distribution. And you could have Steve Pay and Bob Pay and
love that Bob Pay,
Christina Pay and like
I got Captive Pay.
Captive Pay. You could have all of this.
Yeah.
The issue is that like these self-employed agents that are out in the world, they just get paid obscene amounts of upfront commission.
Yes.
That they live off and spend quite quickly.
Yes.
So like they're not like. that's what I say. In an ideal world, yes, you could do that. But I think the realities of the market.
They're not
mean that you
customer
can't.
focused, right? And I think
Some are.
Yeah,
Some are.
Yeah,
Some are.
some of them look after their customers.
Yeah.
But the fly by night ones that we see,
Yeah.
who have got like 3 PAs in Dubai who are just calling businesses left, right, and centre.
The thing is, I don't blame them because they're self-employed, right?
Yeah.
So they live hand to mouth. Just that's the model. That's the model that's been replicated everywhere. And we couldn't join that rat race, just to be clear, because the amount you have to pay now is too much because of all the war chests that are out there with the big acquirers. And we were like, it doesn't make, the math doesn't math.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you a pretty graph going up to the right in terms of mints.
Yeah.
But if you look at the revenue line and churn line,
It's
not
a
there.
bit like some of the payment companies that have come and gone, right? They had Adyen. They've gone to some big players. They've gone in with like a stupid rate to earn maybe like, I don't know, 500 quid a year or something stupid.
If they're lucky,
if they're lucky, or maybe losing. To then go to other brands and go, we've got these brands. And then more recently, you've seen them just gone. They've disappeared off the face of the earth.
You can't play that game.
No.
It doesn't work.
No.
Especially if you only got a commodity.
Right. And so I think the nice piece that we're talking about here is that customer first is an important thing, right? It's all about the customer, looking after the customer. And I think what I'm hearing here is it's very much like payments is payments, great. You know, it goes in, no one speaks to you. And that's not something that you want to do. That you're very much, the embedded is different because that's the POS being a bit more, we can show added value, or that partner can show added value and add the service. But I think what we're hearing here is that one, you're enabling the partners to do stuff. 2, you're pushing them to do more stuff. And 3, you're helping them and then there's a customer service piece on the end, right?
Yeah.
Because you get stuck with my help desk or wherever it might be.
And I do honestly think, I mean, it makes me nervous to a point because all my career I've built stuff that's been tried and tested. Build a sales channel, build an enterprise team, whatever it might be. And I've worked with some amazing people in doing that. But it's the first time we've actually come up with my career. You've been on there for a long time. Where I've gone, oh my God, like this has to work. This is so new. Like there's no like blueprint anywhere.
No.
We're laying the track as we go and we know it's going to work. And I think what's going to happen very quickly is because it's so, it's an aggressive play, because it is so aggressive, you're going to start seeing a lot of buy rates come out and a lot of these propositions happen. The beauty that we've got is that we aren't coming from a position of earning all that revenue anyway. So anything we do is incremental for our business.
Yeah.
So we don't suffer the loss of revenue that others might trying to do this play. And ultimately, if we can keep the cost base down of producing this thing and servicing this thing, the people that are going to benefit are the customers. And that's what we want to see happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's really interesting. I will now look at the video afterwards. Obviously. But yeah, no, it's an interesting play that you've taken to that route. It's not something that someone would normally do. It's normally the POS would be built. It's like you'd go build the POS and then build the payments. You've sort of done the other way around. You've sort of built the payments and then gone, well, hold on, just use it, which is the other way around, right? And then that stops the partner from having to spend all that money, which you probably just spent on building that tool. But then there's value in it, right? So I think that it's super interesting to see what's going to happen. I think next year is going to be an interesting year to see. I'm interested to look on people's faces when that starts to happen, and those providers are like, actually, we're now more in control.
Yeah. I just want to be talked about in the room with the big acquirers and all this. Little
God's
Yeti Pay.
The bloke from
pink thing.
Your little. So like Tens have got the Sprite. You need to animate your little Sprite and have little like flags.
We forgot to bring it. It's because it's raining. We've got a 7-meter tall Yeti out
Have you?
outside.
We've actually put it out in the square.
So,
we didn't want to get it
I think you need to basically get a photo of it climbing the BT Tower. That would be cool. Waving the flag. So I think that's really interesting. So. Yeah, I'm super interested to see what's going to happen over the next time, over the next year. I think it's a good time to talk about it. So I'm going to give you a. They're going to hear that as well. So I'm going to give you a round of applause. Thank you both for coming. This was awesome. I'm excited to see it. To be fair, I want to see it as well.
It's going to be good, mate.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to see it and have a look at it. I think it's really interesting. So thank you very much for coming.
Mate.
Thanks for having us, mate. Appreciate it.
Merry Christmas. And happy New Year.
you
Give everyone a
too.
wave goodbye.
Merry Christmas.